Alright, hi guys! Bit of a different video. I'm just going to be briefly talking about the Koya4Art situation that's kind of going on. I know a lot of people are kind of talking about this at the moment, or like some people are talking about it, but I just want to shed my own opinion on it. I'll spoil it right away. She is definitely tracing AI. There is no way she's not. So I just wanted to kind of go over it, but I also want to see a lot of people are just generalizing, saying, oh, this looks sus, that looks sus, you know, oh, people don't draw like that, blah, 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 blah. And well, yes, but there are like situations that something can look AI when it's not. So I just wanted to give my opinion on this. I am someone who has been accused of AI before, so that's why. Yeah, let's just jump into it. So here's the most recent post. I can tell you exactly why this is AI, aside from the fact that it kind of looks AI, but that's not a good enough reason these days. Obviously, you can see she's kind of like roughly sketching in stuff, and all looks fine, but it's when we get to the line art that it becomes super sus. Yes, you can see her redrawing lines and stuff. Since this is one of her more recent ones, you can see that she's purposefully like redrawing stuff to make her look more real. She's gone and deleted all the old ones that look like super duper sus where she's not redrawing anything, so yeah, there's that. I mean, here you can see right now, I forgot the third step on the friggin' ladder. Well, no, I think that AI forgot it, because how do you forget that as a person? Look, that being said, I forget stupid things like that all the time, so I'm willing to give her a pass on that. Yes, it looks hella AI, but yeah. This is another thing that's really weird. Shading before the light. Like, yes, everyone has a different process, like she said, but usually you would add that, like, shadow as like a multiply layer above those colors, so it seems really weird to me that you would do it in this order, because that's just like adding extra work. Like, you have to think about the colors you would shade with before the thing, like the actual base color, which is weird because this red panda character she draws all the time, so you'd think you'd have like a set color palette and all that for artist cohesion, whatever. So you'd think you would shade the default color that you always use, not try to figure out what the shading color is without a multiply layer. You know what I mean? It's just weird. I think the reason for this is because she's tracing and she can't, if she fills in the whole base color, she's not able to see where the AI applied shadows, because the base color would essentially block the layer below it, which the layer below it is the AI drawing she's tracing, which shows her where to apply the shadows. So I think that's why she's putting in shadows first. I have no idea why else she would render like this. It makes zero sense. It's also kind of weird you can't see the panda's belly through a glass jar. But yeah, so those are the kind of things that look sus. A big thing that people talk about as well is that her actual sketching process is quite sus, which I'll touch on now. I don't see too much of it in this one, but I'll have another look. Like, oh, this is not the sketching process. Girl, you can't prove it if you're not showing the sketching. So the weird thing about her sketching process is that, sure, she's like roughing out things, but once she gets there, she doesn't liquefy anything, she doesn't move anything around. It's like she has a complete idea of what she wants to do in mind, you know? She's not bouncing around, not adding this, adding that, going back, rubbing this out, changing it. There's none of that in her speed paints. Since she's being like called out for all of this, she's trying to make her more recent speed paints look more legit, but it's just not giving legit. I'm sorry, when your art style changes every single like post, I'm sorry, but it's, yeah, still very sus. Yeah, not to mention the art style inconsistencies. She draws eyes different every single time, so like, I don't know, kind of sus. But you can see she has a clear idea of where she wants to put things. Like, she's just putting these mushrooms down. She's just putting like she's not like roughly sketching out the perspective or the background or anything yet, which again, it's a naturalistic background, so I get it, but it's kind of sus. Yeah, so you can see in the speed paint that someone uploaded, she did nuke a lot of her content. She very clearly just freehanded the whole thing, didn't change it whatsoever. Yeah, this is the one that I clicked on before. She's making more of an effort to make it look like she's not tracing, but I think it's still kind of obvious that, yeah, because the way she just sketches everything, knows where everything is going to be, has a complete total idea of what she's doing. And like, cool, maybe she thumbnailed it traditionally or whatever, I don't know. It just, like, we had a look at this one, pose perfect, she doesn't tweak it at all, she doesn't change it, she's sketching in these things, is not changing the placement whatsoever. Like, you see how this is kind of sus? Because most artists, when they sketch, they liquefy things, they like tweak things, they, you know, use all the different like ways you can change things, whether that be redrawing it or selecting it and moving it or liquefying it, you know. Artists do that a lot. Here's the thing I wanted to touch on. I'll throw up a speed paint of mine. As you can see, I'm kind of just sketching, I'm not changing anything at all. Yeah. But you'll see at the end of the speed paint, I liquefied the shit out of it. So, I just want to make it clear that this is not indicative. Like, if you see someone's sketching process and they're not changing anything at all, that's not necessarily a total giveaway, because I myself do that. It's just that I'm usually too blind to see the issues in the sketching phase. So I'll usually, maybe if I've done the line art, I'll liquefy the line art before I color it in. Or sometimes it's at the very end of the process where I collapse all like the layers and then liquefy the whole drawing because it's so messed up. So Skill issue, yes. Am I absolutely dropping the quality of my art by liquefying it after the fact? Yes, but, you know, I just don't see it in the sketching process, so that could totally be the case here. But the fact of the matter is that she's not tweaking it at all. From start to finish, she just draws, and it comes out quote-unquote perfect. So that is very indicative of AI tracing, or tracing at all, really. She very likely is hiding AI pictures under private layers, which I think is the thing on Procreate. I'm an Ibis Paint user, so there's that. So I'm not 100% knowledgeable on how that all works with the private layers and all that, but I'm pretty sure there was a case of her where she did accidentally show the thing she was tracing. Okay, I found the video where it flashed up the thing she was tracing. Yeah, awesome, she was tracing AI. So please, yeah, don't send hate to her, but maybe kindly report her profile, I don't know. And here we also have a thing that she did traditionally. I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, but you can clearly see that she has some skill. You know, she has some knowledge of like art and stuff. And that's canvas, so I'm pretty sure she didn't like lightbox it or anything, because it's canvas, I don't think you could do that. But, you know, like, she does clearly have some art ability, so if she just nurtures that, if she just works on that, then, you know, this could all be like avoided. Like, you don't have to use AI. And this goes to anyone who's insecure about their art and is using AI and hiding about it and lying about it, just so they can feel like not beginner or not be hated on as beginner, because let's be honest, TikTok is kind of wild with the amount of hate beginner artists get. Just don't do it. Honestly, like, you're making yourself worse at the end of the day. When you trace AI, or when you use AI and claim it as your own, you're not getting any better. Just work hard, lock in, and do all that art stuff, because, yeah. So obviously, yeah, you know, I think she was trying to pass this off traditionally as like proof, like, yes, I can draw, blah, 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 but I'm sorry, it's just not to the quality that her digital art skills are. And I'm not talking about like how scratchy and messy all the painting is, because, I mean, same, but like the actual drawing itself is not the quality you would expect from her, given her digital art abilities. So yeah, and especially when she doesn't liquefy, she doesn't move anything around, she just draws straight. You'd think then she'd be perfect at traditional, because there's no undo button, there's no lasso tool, no liquefy tool, but that ability just isn't here. So I think she really is indeed using AI, so that is not a slay. And even with the fish, I don't think the fish was traced. I think, because, you know, she's using Ibis Paint, which you can't, there's no hidden layers on that. But it's a fish, mate. Look how easy that is to draw. And as we saw in the traditional one, she very obviously has at least some artistic abilities. So I have no doubt that she drew this just to try quell and everything. But just because you drew one thing doesn't mean everything else you drew. You know, just because you didn't generate this one thing doesn't mean the other stuff isn't AI generated. You know what I mean? So kind of a weak point. But anyways, I'll throw up a couple more bits of art. This one got heavily accused of AI. I've posted it like 15 times on TikTok because people go, oh, no, that's AI. Oh, no, that's AI. Oh, no, that's AI. The funniest one actually was when someone said, nah, that's a Snapchat filter. Bruh. But yeah, and I do agree. It does look kind of AI because the Ibis Paint brushes just don't hold a candle to Autodesk's. No hate, but I do like Autodesk's brushes better. Now, a lot of people ask, where's the sketching process? Why can't we see the sketching process? You obviously traced. Well, first of all, just overlay the images, then it's not traced. Like, there's so many things I want to fix. Like, the facial expression is just not quite right. There's something a little bit uncanny about it. The mug is stumpy as hell. It's so thick. I wish I could go and change that. But I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it. It's an old piece of art, so let it be. Where's the sketching process? Lots of people ask. I was in the process of changing between Autodesk Sketchbook to Ibis Paint, purely because Ibis Paint records speed paints. So yeah, and obviously that, for me as a content creator, would be very helpful, so I don't actually have to record the thing, because that takes up so much storage, guys, you have no idea. So yeah, but I was still very much more comfortable working in Autodesk. Like, even in my Ibis Paint video where I was like trying Ibis Paint for the first time, I didn't actually draw in it, I just colored, because I was very not used to the UI and how it works and all the brushes and all that. I just imported something that I'd drawn traditionally and like did this whole thing, and yeah. So I only had to color, which just to help me get used to the program and stuff. And yeah, so when sketching, my sketching process, you guys have seen my sketching process, like, it's in plenty of videos. It can get quite messy, quite hectic. Better now, I'd say, actually, now that I'm more experienced drawing digitally. Like, I've got an iPad now, which is awesome. I'm not a finger phone artist anymore. Definitely makes it a lot easier to sketch digitally. However, it can be quite a messy process. So since at the time I was still more used to Autodesk, I decided to sketch in Autodesk and then import that sketch into, which kind of ended up being my line art, into Ibis Paint and then color it, so then at least the rendering process would be recorded. essentially. Obviously, now looking back, especially with the whole AI and tracing and all this kind of drama going around, was that necessarily the wisest decision? I'm going to say no, because obviously then I don't have a record of the sketching process, so that's not very good. But overall, like, what can I do about it, guys? You've seen my sketching process a bajillion times. You can clearly see me rendering it, so it's not AI. Like, guys, what the heck? Yeah, so that's that. So I guess final thoughts. Just because it looks AI doesn't mean it's AI. Just because someone doesn't clean up their sketch doesn't mean it's AI. However, what you are looking for is a pattern of behaviors, and Koya4Art has a pattern of behaviors which suggests she has AI, because you constantly just see her drawing completely freehand, no liquefying, no moving anything, no nothing, bam, bam, bam. The sketch is exactly the same as the final piece. That is incredibly sus. If you guys check out my sketching process, it doesn't look like that at all. So, kind of indicative of using AI, even if, as someone, like I mentioned earlier, I don't even necessarily liquefy my sketch or move my sketch about that much. It's usually towards the end when I realize how ugly my art is that I have to liquefy it a bunch and drop the quality, but whatever. But she doesn't do that at all. She doesn't tweak her art at all. Start to finish, it's exactly the same, which implies that she's probably tracing something on a hidden layer. So there's that. And overall, her art is just kind of giving that weird, kind of wishy-washy AI look. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and comment, subscribe, really help me out with the algorithm, because I'm kind of struggling, but yeah. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click on any of these other videos you've decided to recommend you on screen right now. Thank you so much, bye!